Welcome to YourPrimetimeSports.com and the Double G Sports Talk Saturday. We're sitting here live at Batten's Donuts, so this is our first time to do this, and I've got an era here, so what we got going on, Dave?
Okay, so we're on the air right now, and we've got a little bit of feedback. First show jitters here, we'll get those fixed. But we are actually on the air, live for the first time on internet television. We've done this show several times over the course of the past 2 years.
Let me get this.
What do you got going on?
I've got, well, you remember the other night, the football game? Okay, it's off. I want to make sure my Wi-Fi is off. So
yeah, okay. Well, we're on the air.
Yeah, I know we're on there, and I just wanted to check. That's why I hesitated there for a second, and you looked at me, and you pointed at my phone. I thought, uh-oh, I got to check that Wi-Fi. But anyway, take over.
Well, we are on the air for the first time on internet television. This will be the first time we've ever done this, and we're going to do it from now on. The days of internet radio are over. From now on, you get to look at these two ugly faces right here. We're going to try and bring in prettier people for you to look at, so you won't have to look at us all the time.
That may cause us to lose watchers, these two ugly mugs.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We got to bring in other people.
Well, that's the way it is. So
big night last night.
Yeah, let's talk some football.
Well, I say last night. Over the past week, it took 3 different nights to get all of the 5A East teams to play all their games, and they finished up with 3 more games last night. We've got scores from all the 5A East involved games. When I say 5A East games, they were not conference games, but they were the 5A East teams that we cover playing their first games of the season.
Yeah, and usually the first 3 weeks of the season is non-conference. So, but it was a crazy week, wasn't it?
Well, the most disappointing game of those, for us anyway, because we're homers, was the game that we covered, the game that we broadcasted on Tuesday night from Arkansas State University, and that was Greene County Tech and Jonesboro.
Yeah, that ended up in a 69-30 loss to Greene County Tech, and then another disappointing game for us is the Paragould Valley View game, which ended up 40
to 21, right?
40 to 21 on their home field. So, and we will have Coach Conaway and Coach Branum here this morning to discuss those games and talk about what's coming up next week for the Eagles and the Rams.
Now, last night we were supposed to broadcast Nettleton versus Newport, Nettleton at Newport. What ended up happening was the weather, Hurricane Isaac, which ended up being Tropical Storm Isaac, which ended up being Tropical Depression Isaac, which is now over Missouri, threw everything into a turmoil, and they moved that game up so that they could dodge the tropical storm, and they played it on Thursday night. We were unavailable to be able to go over and broadcast on Thursday night, so they played it without us. We tried to get them not to, but they played without us, and Newport, on their home field, shocked Nettleton 38-32, and it was a surprising score to me.
Yeah, it was to me too, and I think we made a good choice with the equipment that we have. The press boxes sometimes have open windows. It just was not a good idea for us to do a live broadcast with cameras and all the equipment that we have.
You mean to find a replacement game last night, because the weather across the state last night was just horrendous.
It was brutal. And you know what? I was watching the news last night, and that was the craziest thing, how that came up and around and was going to be, I guess, by tomorrow up in Pennsylvania. And
I know. And
it just kind of like went right around us, you know.
And it parked. For the first 2 or 3 days, it parked over Louisiana. And once it got out of Louisiana, it just started hauling. Right. And it just it swept through Arkansas, and we were getting outer bands of it at any given point, at any point of the state, all throughout Thursday night and all day yesterday. So there was a lot of lightning delays last night in games across the state from South Arkansas to North Arkansas.
Well, there were some games that by news time last night, KAIT were just at halftime or just in the third quarter.
Right, and there were some games that they called them at halftime and said, we can't play anymore, the lightning won't stop.
Pretty pretty crazy week. So, but anyway.
All right, so we went over the Nettleton and Newport score. That happened Thursday. Also happening Thursday, 2 other games were bumped from Friday to Thursday that involved our 5A East teams. One of those was Blytheville and Osceola, and that one was at Blytheville. It was a renewal of an old-time rivalry that they haven't played in a while. Brought that rivalry back, and Blytheville won it 36-24. And then this one surprised me. Greenbrier and BB. Greenbrier, mercy rules. BB, 35-0 on Thursday night.
Well, let's talk about BB for a minute. I think they're in that year. I don't want to call it a down year, but they're a little younger this year. They lost an all-state starting quarterback from last season. Which is it's hard to replace a good quality quarterback year in and year out in high school football. So they're probably going to take a few lumps, but I think they're still going to be impressive enough in the 5A East. And another one that surprised me, not that they lost, but the score was the Springdale baseball game.
That one was last night. We were getting to the 3 5A East teams that played last night, and that's one of them. Batesville at Springdale, and Springdale just put the whooping on them. Same score, 35-0.
Yeah, and the thing that surprised me about that is I lived in Springdale in 08 through 10. Went to a lot of football games up there. Springdale was a decent football team when we're talking 7A in that area up there. You always had Bentonville, and you had Fayetteville, and you had Fort Smith Northside, and some of those schools. Harbor was even good when I was up there, which is the other half of the Springdale school system.
They had to split that thing up and create another entire school.
Well, I really felt that Batesville, being Batesville, who they are, being good in the 5A East, would go up there and at least make it competitive.
There were some star running backs that Batesville had that were supposed to come back this year as seniors, and I believe, and this is me thinking out loud, I think they went somewhere else. They're not at Batesville anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So Batesville's backfield is rebuilding all of a sudden.
Okay.
And I think that score reflects that, 35-0 at Springdale. You gotta remember, it's a long drive from Batesville to Springdale, Arkansas. So that can also have an effect on your players as well.
Well, I know one thing. They draw large crowds in Northwest Arkansas when it comes to football games. And that, I'm sure if it's always like it was when I was up there, that may be the largest crowd besides a state playoff environment crowd that Batesville will see this week, because they draw some enormous crowds at those football games on Friday nights in Northwest Arkansas. It's unbelievable.
2 other games to tell you about. This is the game that we almost went and brought for you last night. In the end, we decided against it. Forest City versus Gosnell. This game played at Gosnell, and it took them a while to get the lights on over there, but they finally did. And Forest City 53, Gosnell 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's the first meeting between those 2 teams ever. And I was surprised they actually played it at Gosnell. But Forest City apparently didn't have any problem playing at the home school of a much smaller school than they are.
Could be the last meeting as far as Gosnell's concerned.
Gosnell may say, okay, that's enough for us. No, it's probably a home and home. We'll probably see Gosnell go there next year. Something for them to look forward to. 53-6. That's not what I expected out of that score.
Right. Yeah, and that's, like you said, that's the game that we were supposed to have went to.
Well, it was our replacement game, should we have decided to go.
Replacement game, and at Gosnell, and but yeah,
you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. So
here's what probably should have been the game, but we would have been there until midnight because it took them all night to get this game finished. Wynn versus Marion, and I believe the game was played at Wynn, and good night for the Yellow Jackets, 21-12 over the Marion Patriots.
Well, we're going to keep a close eye on Wynn Yellow Jackets. I think they're on the rebound this year.
Mm-hmm.
There's
a lot of folks saying they're going to be the number 1 contender for a 5A state championship.
Batesville's looking for that 3-peat as conference champions. But don't be surprised if Wynn is right up there at the top. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that we are covering the Batesville Wynn game, are we not?
Batesville Wynn, oh, absolutely. It's going to be the biggest game all year in the 5A East Conference. It is on our broadcast schedule. In fact, I can bring that up in just a moment and tell you exactly what week that game will be played. It doesn't matter what week it's going to be played. We're going to be there.
Yeah, but why I was bringing that up is because the folks that cannot be there or maybe have to work or out of town or sick or whatever the case may be, you have the opportunity to get online and watch that, because we will be covering that game. And that may be the biggest game of the year prior to playoff time.
That game will be played in Week 7. And it's pretty much, as far as we're concerned, as far as everybody else thinks, it's going to decide the conference championship that night in Week 7. And it will be played Friday, October 12th, at Wynn Yellow Jacket Stadium. So that will be another hurdle for Batesville to climb, having to go down to Wynn and play that game if they want to repeat as state champions.
Right, and that's going to be, we're getting into that Week 7. That's when
we're looking way far away ahead.
But that's when it gets real exciting. I mean, because you're starting to see the playoff starting to form, and the wins and the losses, and who has to do this and who has to do that to get into the playoffs. So that Week 7 is always a fun week. We're right in there real close. So,
but we're looking way far ahead.
Yeah, we are.
What our game next week will be, because we're non-conference schedule right now. First 3 weeks are always the non-conference games, and next week this one ought to be a doozy. West Memphis at Blytheville. We're going to have that game for you live on yourprimetimesports.com.
I have to tell you a funny story. Coach Mack, he asked Coach McCroskey, the coach over at Blytheville, the new head coach, he said, Cliff, he said, what games are you covering on us? And I told him, and he said, did you really have to pick that one? West Memphis has a Division I running back, 6'4", 200 and some odd pounds, that every major college is looking at. They say he is the real deal. I do not have his name, but he is a big-time football player out of West Memphis, so it's going to be fun to watch him.
That'll be next Friday night.
That'll be next Friday night. So, and look who just walked in the door.
We are, by the way, folks, we're at the same place we've always done this show from, Batten's Donuts and Bakery in the Paragould Plaza here in gloomy Paragould, Arkansas this morning. We've still got overcast skies from Tropical Depression Isaac, but we're here in Paragould as we always are at Batten's Donuts and Bakery, and this is where we always will be from as far as we're concerned.
Well, hang on, man. There's a couple of shows we're going to do somewhere else.
We're going to do somewhere else?
I'm just not going to announce that right now. It's probably going to be in more of a basketball.
Yeah,
but it's just, we're going to do it 2 or 3 times there. They've invited us, and I thought that'd be pretty cool.
But this is our home base of operations for this show.
That's right. So,
and we love doing it. We're glad Mike has us. Mike Batten has us, allows us to come in and broadcast here on Saturday mornings.
And that bell in the background, that's people driving through the drive-thru. So this is
it's usually backed up to the highway, the drive-thru.
It has been 2 or 3 times. Well, it is right now.
Yep. It's a busy place on Saturday mornings for good reason. You got to come in here and have some of these donuts. We're going to take a break now. Our next guest is sitting over here off camera waiting. In fact, we're going to bring him on camera while I go over to give us a 2-minute commercial break.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
All right, so let's get Coach Conaway. Bye-bye. Let's go get Coach Conaway to come over here and sit down.
Good morning. This is all new, Coach, so.
What is?
Hey.
Okay, can you hear okay right there?
I'm good.
Okay, good. The camera is your friend, Coach. Right there it is. All right.
Don't lean too far to the right. No, that's too far.
Yeah, he's gone. When he does that, he's absolutely gone. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes right here on yourprimetimesports.com.
You get big-time savings and hometown service. Always a bed, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Bed, there's a difference. You will clearly see.
No, he's not. That's Razorback.
Saving service, great selection too.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
At First National Bank, you have convenience right at your fingertips. And instant buying power. It's so easy. And when you're on the go, well, you know what to do. We understand the importance of now. First National Bank, the working bank for working people.
All right, welcome back to Batten's Donuts here at the Double G Sports Talk Saturday. I have with me our first guest this morning, Coach Jeff Conaway of the Greene County Tech Golden Eagles. And we're just going to jump right in there, Coach, and let's talk about Tuesday night's game and what you expected when you went into that game and your players. Because, you know, the other night I was at Meet the Eagles. Y'all were fired up. Mm-hmm. And so just give us some insight or some highlights of that game, and let's talk about some of the positive things that you pulled out from that game.
Well, we knew going into the game that it was going to be a difficult battle. We understood that Jonesboro's a very good football team, very explosive. They're big up front, they're fast. And we knew that in order to have a chance to win the game, we were going to have to play extremely smart and not turn the football over and be solid in our special teams and tackle well. I mean, there was just a variety of things that we knew we were going to have to do to the best of our ability. We did some of those things very well, but we did not do several of those things very well. And when you play a team as explosive as Jonesboro and you slip up in some of those areas, it can really, really hurt you quickly, and that's exactly what happened. First kickoff, you know, we call a deep right kick, and for some reason our kicker doesn't get his foot right on the ball, and he kicks it shallow left right to Martin Stafford. We were not ready for that from our kickoff unit, and when you do little things like that, it hurts you, and Sure enough, it hurt us. He ran it back for an opening kickoff score, and it really took us a quarter and a half to get that under control and get back focused on the football game. Well,
and you know, then you come right back out after I believe 4 and out on offense, or 3 and out on offense. Then your punt return team, they let their guard down, and Pope, with his blazing speed, he breaks loose, and now you're down 13-0. What was your thoughts over on the sideline when that happened? Because Jonesboro's offense has not even touched the field yet. His quarterback ain't even been out there.
Well, obviously it's disappointing.
Yes.
I mean, when you have breakdowns like that in special teams, it's disappointing. But again, we were just trying to get our players composed. We were trying to make sure that they were calm, and that was one of our biggest goals going into that game. We knew it was going to be a crazy environment, and it did get crazy early. I do like the way that our players and coaches held their composure, and I really think that we took the gunfire with a very calm spirit over there on the sideline. And again, we lost by a lot of points, but we did battle, and we continued to compete. And we're going to take a lot of things from that football game that's going to help us win football games the remainder of the season.
And I believe that with all my heart. That's why I brought all this up, because y'all you guys are going to take the components that you need from film and reviewing that game and try not to let those things happen in the future. I thought you responded well after you got some things going. I think it was 21-7, I believe. They had scored another touchdown before the Eagles scored, but you did some very responsive things. And then, and I don't want to jump into this too early, but I had told the guys up in the press box that what Greene County Tech needed to do to start the third quarter is play good, solid defense and score first and get that momentum built up, and you did that. I mean, you did exactly what I had talked about, but then the defense held them, and you did your job, and then we have a turnover that just broke the camel's back right there. So
it really did, and that was our goal at halftime. We knew we were going to get the football. We wanted to go down and score, and our offense put together a great drive to open the third quarter. We went down and scored. Defense held them. We forced them to punt, and then we muffed the punt. That particular situation, that was the wrong call. The touchdown on the muff punt was the wrong call. The head official called me the next day and apologized, and they missed it. We were telling them that it was a wrong call, and it didn't help us any at that moment, but they did call the next day and apologize. It should have been our ball on the 20-yard line. Instead, they gave Jonesboro 7 more points. So difficult to overcome, but it's our fault. No excuses to be made from us. We didn't catch the punt. We should have caught the punt or let it roll in the end zone, but we muffed it. And so really, you're right. We had the momentum. We had an opportunity to make it a 12-point game in the middle of the third quarter, and who knows if we would have done that, maybe we're talking differently today.
Now on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to play against some other athletes that maybe not quite as fast or quick or as good as Pope, but how do you stop a young man like that? Because this kid had touchdowns of he had 4 TDs, he had 207 yards, and I believe that he had some long yardage on some long runs. What do you tell your defense? How do you contain a player like him?
Well, when you're playing a team that is bigger than you up front, and they're faster, you've got to team tackle. We're in a situation like that. It's difficult to tackle that kid one-on-one. It's gonna take more than one of our defensive players to bring him down. A lot of times we've got to swarm to the football. Everybody's got to run fast to the football and tackle collectively as a football team. And I didn't think we did that very well. That's another thing that we really are stressing now and trying to improve, and we will.
So when you came back to practice on Wednesday, and I'm assuming y'all practiced Wednesday and Thursday, maybe even yesterday, what did you tell your kids? What did you go into the practice and did you work on those special team items that we've talked about and the defensive side of the ball? Did you work on some of those things?
Well, I mean, yes, we do that every single day.
Right.
I mean, every single day we're working all of that stuff. That's it's a 3-hour practice. So there's not anything that we haven't worked on. There may be times where it looks like, well, they didn't work on that, but that's not the case. We work on it every single day. We stress those things every single day, and that's the frustrating part. As a coach, you stress those things daily, and then a lot of times we go out and we don't communicate, or we don't get the job done. But that's just part of coaching. We've got to continue to stress them and continue to improve. But we're telling our guys, we're pulling all the positives out of the game film. We're pulling all the negatives out of the game film, and we're trying to make those negatives into positives. And as long as the guys will give us great effort and great attitudes, it's our job as coaches to correct a lot of those things.
And I sat in on some Greene County Tech practices, and I will tell you that the kids do give great efforts, and they do have great attitudes. So I see a lot of good things coming out of Tuesday night's loss. Now, we've hit on all the negatives, if you want to call them negatives, all the downsides of the game. Let's talk about a plus side. I want to talk about a young man who's just a sophomore who really, really impressed me, because you do not see many 10th graders take on the job that he did the other night in running the football. And that's Tyler Calver.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hit on him a little bit. Do you know his yardage or any of his
Yeah,
stat? You're looking that up? Okay.
Mm-hmm. He had 18 carries for 85 yards. He averaged 5.3 a carry, and a lot of that is due to him just making sure that he gets those extra yards. He's a very tough runner. He's not a big kid by any means, but he is able to get those tough yards. And the offensive line, there were times when our offensive line was really good. We had 627 all-purpose yards.
Right.
And I don't know, but I don't know that anyone else will do that this year to Jonesboro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think we proved that we can move the football against a very good defensive front and a very talented secondary. So Calver definitely was one of those guys. He was a spark plug, and he's been that way all fall camp. There have been days when maybe our offensive line or our other backs were dragging, and he gets in there and it runs over somebody or breaks a tackle or carries the pile, and that's what we love about Calver. He's that spark plug that we need.
Well, there was one touchdown that he scored in the second half that was nothing but extra effort on his part. I think I may back up here a little bit. Did he score one in the third quarter?
No, I don't believe he did in the third quarter.
Okay, who was the young man that had the extra effort in the third quarter? I'm trying to remember who it was. Could have been Travis Ryan. I don't remember, but I just know there was a lot of effort put into that touchdown. So, but for some reason I thought Tyler scored that. But another young sophomore that you have that's impressive is London Word. He can do a lot of things on the offensive side of the ball. So let's talk about him.
London had 5 catches for 32 yards. He scored the first touchdown of the game for us, and he's another kid that he's a converted quarterback that understands his responsibilities. He's a tough kid that we're using him in a lot of different areas. We're using him as our fullback type. He's actually blocking defensive ends and slipping out into the flats and catching the football well and making positive yards after the catch. But both of those two kids are kids that we're real excited about. They've stepped up in a big way and taken on a very large leadership role in our offensive unit.
Well, and I just think, well, I even knew last year when they were junior high football players what an asset they were going to be to your senior high program. And like you said, London Word can do so many things. He can be behind center. He can be out as a wide receiver. He can be behind the quarterback. So you have a lot of versatility with him on the offensive side of the ball. So he is definitely a plus to have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another young man that impressed me with good hands, especially in the first half. Then in the second half, I do remember 3 passes that were not on the money for him to get his hands on, but was Corey Vance. I thought he had an impressive game, and especially in the first half.
Yeah, Corey made some big plays. He was pretty solid all night long. 4 catches, 71 yards. He made some big runs after the catch. Helped us move the chains early in the game. But he's another one that is really explosive, and we've got to find ways to get him the football because he's got some breakaway speed, and for the most part he caught just about everything that came to him. But another one that we're excited about getting the football to.
Yeah, like I said, in the first half, everything that was thrown his way, he had it, tucked it, was gone, was picking up some extra yardage. In the second half, he just had him and Hartwig just had problems. One time the ball was thrown to him and he was still running his pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whose fault that was, but anyway, he just wasn't prepared.
Right.
And but you really have a situation where you have one of the fastest players in the 5A East, and Travis Ryan, And then Corey Vance, I mean, that's a big plus for you, Coach, on the offensive side of the ball, and with your spread offense, and as much as y'all pass. I mean, it's nice to have two receivers like those guys.
It is. We're thrilled that we've got speed on both sides of our alignment, and both of those guys are players that can really stretch the field, and they're both home run threats for us. And really, when we become great at getting them in the football deep, it's going to open up a lot of things for us. So we're thrilled to have both of those two. They are going to have huge years this season.
Now, for the third year in a row, you have a new quarterback, Dylan Hartwig, and I'm assuming that's who y'all are going with. I know
fifth year in a row.
Is it fifth year in a row? Different quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, you know, the first 2 years of that 5, I wasn't here, so
True.
Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, 5 years in a row. Sometimes you like to get a quarterback that's a sophomore or junior, and he works his way through the system, and by the time he's a senior, but that just hasn't worked out for you, obviously. But you have a junior this year in Dylan Hartwig, and I think he has the material to be a good quality quarterback. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about Dylan.
Dylan played well. He completed 63% of his passes. He had 3 interceptions that obviously are, obviously that's the worst thing you can do as a quarterback. But he was under a lot of stress most of the night. Was 27 of 44 for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns, and not bad for a first performance against a great football team. Obviously, there are still things that he has to improve. He's got to become more certain with some of his decisions and where he puts the ball. He's a gambler. He's not afraid to make the big play, and sometimes that turns into a negative. So those are things that we're going to have to improve with him. But he is a gamer. He comes out, and when the lights come on, he usually shines. But the most impressive thing about what Dylan Hartwig did Tuesday night was there were 5 or 6 or 7 clips where he really got hit hard late after he got the football out of his hand, and he kept getting up, never complained, battled through it. He was hurting, but he battled through it and really did a good job leading our offense.
I thought he did an exceptional job, and you said the key word a minute ago, because this was something that was discussed in the press box at halftime, is the stress that he was under. He scrambled most of the night against a very, very good defense. He was able to get the ball off or get out to the flat. I don't think he was sacked that many times. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't remember many at all that he was able to get the football out of his hands. So he was under a lot of stress. And, it's hard to find your open wide receivers when you get pushed out of the pocket and you're running for your life.
It is. And, again, that's one of his strengths. We've talked about it all summer and all fall. We knew that when he had to scramble, he would be a playmaker, and he's very accurate outside of the pocket. He's very accurate when he runs the football. And so, we've given him the green light, if you will, to make plays and to ad-lib a little bit when he's out there, and he does a very good job.
Well, like I said, I was real impressed with him the other night, and I thought he did a great job at quarterback and leading the team in your loss. So, are we ready for a commercial break?
We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
We are live from Batten's Donuts and Bakery with Coach Jeff Conaway from Greene County Tech. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on yourprimetimesports.com.
At First National Bank, you have convenience right at your fingertips. And instant buying power. It's so easy. And when you're on the go, well, you know what to do. We understand the importance of now. First National Bank, the working bank for working people.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, Let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bed, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
Welcome back to YourPrimetimeSports.com. We are live from Batten's Donuts, Double G Sports Talk Saturday. And Clifton has Coach Jeff Conaway from Greene County Tech.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Welcome back, and we're going to talk some more Greene County Tech Eagle football. But before we go into that football segment, I want everyone to know that we have a birthday boy in our midst tomorrow. And Coach Jeff Conaway's birthday is tomorrow, and so if you can tweet him or you can send him a text message or whatever. Wish him happy birthday tomorrow. Now he is leaving. Him and Melissa are leaving right after this show, and they're going to see the Razorbacks. Let's get this corrected too. He has a red and white shirt on. Everyone in Battens, when he walked in, thought he had just switched teams across town. So, but it is the Arkansas Razorbacks because that's where he's heading. He's heading to Fayetteville this afternoon. For his birthday. Melissa's taking him to see the Razorbacks for his birthday.
For his 15th birthday.
That's right.
Yeah, 15th.
Look
yeah,
at
right.
him.
32 years old. I told him when he told me that, I said, golly, Coach, I wish I could be 32 again. But anyway, y'all wish him a happy birthday this weekend, and we wish Melissa and Coach a good, safe trip today and have a good time at the Razorback game. So now back to Greene County Tech football. Who are some of the young men on the defensive side of the ball that because there was a lot of breakdowns during that game that did some quality things for you that we want to talk about?
Garrett Latham has been a leader for us on defense at linebacker, and for the most part he played pretty well. Again, we played a really good offense, and there's going to be a lot of breakdowns against every defense that Jonesboro plays this year.
Right.
And they were able to, enforce their will several times that really hurt us. But Garrett Latham's been one of those solid contributors on the defensive side of football. Chris Johnson has been another one that has really improved. Our linebacking core, I believe, is getting better. But we do have some guys out there with very limited amount of game experience. Logan Haley is a senior that has not played football for several years.
Since junior high, or
right.
maybe even longer.
And so we're really trying to take a group of players and turn them into excellent defensive players in a short amount of time. And the progress has gone well. But we still have a ways to go before we're a solid defense.
Now, is Taylor May, is he on the defensive side of the ball, or is he just offense?
He is our right tackle, and he was not able to play offense because of a head injury, a slight concussion that he had a couple days before. But he did kick once, and that was all that he could contribute on Tuesday.
So he had a slight concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of concussions, we have an article in YourPrimetimeSports.com magazine. That's one of the first things at the front is concussions in sports what you need to know. Can you see that right there? Yeah, what you need to know. That's in the new YourPrimetimeSports.com magazine. That is written by Dr. Schechter, and I've already had numerous people approach me and say, wow, what a great article in the magazine, and it was very interesting to know some of the things and some of the facts that you need to know in football, because back in my day, if you got your bell rung, you just went back out there and kept playing back in your day too. And so we want kids to be able to play the game of football injury free, but when there are some dings and some maybe slight hand injuries, whatever, we want to make sure that everyone's on top of that and that they can live a good, healthy lifestyle. So great article. I'll get off of that. But back to Greene County Tech football, and we have a young man coming over here to see his buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, he just brought Coach Conaway a donut. Wow, isn't that neat? So we got fans in Battens. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about next week coming up. You have Rivercrest, and Rivercrest just Dave, what was it last night? Rivercrest played, or
they ended up playing last night.
Was it last night
against East Poinsett County?
Yeah.
And that was also a weather game.
Yeah.
They had a lot of stoppages.
So how are you preparing for Rivercrest, and what are you going to do? And this is on home field, right? This is at home.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, obviously we've been watching film. We went to the game last night and did our best to try to decide what their strengths and weaknesses were. So I think we will have a real good grasp on what Rivercrest is going to try to do. And but it's another week where we've got to prepare well. We've got to play well. They've got some really good players. They're fast. They're very physical. And it's Rivercrest is always a good football school. So we've got to be ready, and we're looking forward to getting out there and playing again.
Probably wasn't the best of all nights to do scouting last night, was it?
We had to get in the vehicle several times.
I bet you did.
They stopped the game at least twice that I know of because of the rain or because of the lightning. So it was interesting.
Well, that game will be at 7:30 at the Greene County Tech Eagles home field, and I hope everyone can come out and root their Greene County Tech Eagles on. And Coach, we hope that you spend most of the 10 weeks with us on Saturday mornings. Appreciate you coming up here this morning before you and Melissa leave town to go root the Razorbacks on, and it's always a pleasure to have you. So we will stay in touch, and you guys, like I said, I'll remind you one more time, wish Coach Conaway a happy birthday, and thank you for being on this morning.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right, it's time for a break. When we come back, we'll have our next guest. You are watching, not listening, watching Double G Sports Talk Saturday on YourPrimetimeSports.com, live from Batten's Donuts in Paragould.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bed, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
At First National Bank, you have convenience right at your fingertips. And instant buying power. It's so easy. And when you're on the go, well, you know what to do. We understand the importance of now. First National Bank, the working bank for working people.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
Welcome back to your PrimetimeSports.com. We're glad you're joining us on a Saturday morning for Double G Sports Talk Saturday, live here from Batten's Donuts and Bakery. And now Clifton is back with our next guest.
Yes, sir. We have Coach Tim Branum, the head coach of Paragould Rams. And good morning, Coach. Glad to have you.
Good morning. Thanks.
We are live TV this year, so everyone's going to have to get used to it. And I thought it was funny what you said to Coach Conaway as we were exchanging seats here, because everyone in here this morning either thought or said out loud what you did about the red shirt. So that was pretty funny.
Well,
so let's move this right up here in front of your mouth. Now talk.
Coach Conway's a good sport, and when I saw him in that red, I told him it kind of made me a little nervous, so I didn't know what was up. So
you seen that Razorback though, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was funny.
That took the pressure off.
First thing I want to do this morning is I want to personally apologize to you. It's bothered me all week long. You know me. I'm not much on making mistakes, or I don't like to make mistakes. Let me put it that way. And when I do, I lose a little sleep over it. I don't know if you noticed this, but in our new YourPrimetimeSports.com magazine, we had a boo-boo. We had a boo-boo right there, so obviously you didn't know it. But we had a boo-boo right there.
If that's the worst thing that happens,
Yeah.
I'll be good.
But we're right over here. We're good over here. So what happened was Coach Branum's name, and I'll tell you exactly how it happened, folks. We were fixing to go to print 48 hours away, and I had 3 large advertisers call wanting to be in the magazine. So we had to make some shuffles. And we got them in there, and they were full-page ads, and when you make shuffles like that, you make mistakes. So he's taking it good, and I apologize, and we'll try to do a better job next year. And I have you one of these, by the way. But anyway, let's get into Ram football, and let's talk about your game Tuesday night with Valley View Blazers. We were not there, obviously, so you're going to have to highlight me and let me in on some stuff. But the score ended up 40-21 Valley View, but you had a halftime lead at 15-14. So take it away and tell us what you did in the first half that maybe fell apart in the second half.
Well, the halves are real similar in the sense that we were able to control the football and eat the clock, and we had 2 drives of 11 plays or more in the first half, and were able to convert on both of those. And Valley View in the first half, much like the second half, got their touchdowns on big plays, and that was the story of the game. With 5 minutes to go in the game, we've got the football at our own 35 points down, so it's a 27, or 6 points down. It's a 27-21 football game, and the score is not really indicative of how close the game was. We opened the third quarter with a 22-play, 10.5-minute drive starts at our own 10 and ends at their 10, and we couldn't finish it, which I thought was key to the game. And their first play from scrimmage after that drive, they hit a 90-yard touchdown pass, which kind of broke our back, and I thought was probably the biggest difference in the football game.
So that drive there kind of was the turnaround for y'all.
Well, I mean, anytime you can take the opening kick off of the half and drive the ball 22 plays and eat 10.5 minutes of the third quarter, basically you've eaten the whole third quarter. So in our philosophy, where we're trying to shorten the game, and it was textbook for us. I mean, that's what we're looking for. Anytime a group of high school kids can drive the ball and they're disciplined enough to do those things, and And it's a credit to our kids, and we just got to finish those drives. And in the last 3 or 4 years, we've been very good at finishing those drives. And for some reason or another, we were tired or we fatigued, and we missed a couple blocks, and it got behind the markers when we got down on their end and couldn't convert.
Well, and I've seen a couple of practices, and I've been around the boys this year, and for some reason this year it just felt like this could be the year of turnarounds for the Paragould Rams. I think you have some really key athletes, you have some good football players, and so talk about that a little bit and going into this season. Well,
that's the frustrating part, I think, from Tuesday night is we are a better football team. There is a really good chemistry among these kids, and that's what hurts so much, because we fought and we battled, and we've surely lost our share of games, and we're playing a really good football team on Tuesday night, who I think will do good things during the year. And had a chance to win the ball game, and I thought we actually outplayed them. I mean, coaches always can if and but and all that, but we give up 4 big plays in the game that we shouldn't give up, and results in us finding another way to lose. And that's the struggle, is to get these kids over the hump and win a couple of those close games and get their confidence. And I think we'll go a long way for how our season's going to go.
And I agree. And those 4 big plays were 65, 36, 90, and 48. And
yeah.
Man, those are some back-breaking plays that if somehow you stop them and they don't score, you have a W.
Well, and those plays are not complex football plays where we get out X and O'd. I mean, they're just line up and run past us. And we gotta understand our weakness back there. We don't run real well. I mean, that's not anybody's fault. That's just what the good Lord gave us. And we've got to understand where we're at on the field, and we got to understand the situation and the down and the distance and the situation in the game. And we got to do a lot better job of playing smarter. I think that's what it pretty much came down to.
I think you said the key word there, playing smarter. If they play smarter, everything else will fall in place. So now you're kind of like your crosstown rivals. You have a junior quarterback in Michael Stedham. Is that who you're pretty much going with right now?
Well, Michael pretty much won a job last year, and again we had a competition with Dalton and Michael again this year, and we didn't have a clear-cut favorite, and but Dalton broke his ankle a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and which kind of settled that situation. He'll be back in maybe another week or two, but Michael's our quarterback.
I didn't even realize that Dalton had broke his ankle, because I don't get to come over to the campus as often as I would like and get details. And how did he do that?
It was just a freak deal. At the end of practice, he's running the ball, and the play breaks down, and he scrambles, and he just kind of tried to stiff arm one of our DBs, and he just got taken down funny. And
wow.
So it wasn't just one of those things.
But he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
We hope we get him back
I hope
in the next couple of weeks.
Because he's a very good athlete, and he is no doubt a senior leader out there on the field, and I have seen him quarterback and play other positions, and he's a quality football player. So now you have, I believe, a sophomore who really impresses me. I'm trying Dylan Hoggard.
Yeah.
I like Dylan Hoggard.
Dylan is an excellent football player already, but he's still a young kid and sophomore, and just played his first high school game, and but he looked like a senior out there. So Dylan's got a great future ahead of him. He's just such a competitor, and he's just a natural. He sees the field, he makes those cuts, he does all those things you can't coach, and he's just a natural back there.
Well, I kept my eye on Dylan Hoggard. I've known him, I guess, since he was so little, playing soccer, and his dad was involved in the soccer program, Greene County Soccer Association, and Dylan's always been around ball playing. And I've kind of kept my eye on him, and especially last year as a ninth grader, I thought, man, he's going to be fun to watch at senior high. And I knew that when he got to that senior high level, that he was someone I wanted to keep an eye on because I believe he can bring so many positive things to the Paragould Rams and do so many quality things on the offensive side of the ball for you.
Oh, he does, and he's already proven that. I think he rushed 26 times for 122 yards or something, and a touchdown, and none of those were easy yards. None of them were on the edge, and he was taking a lot of shots. But he also delivers his share of shots. So, that 1-2 punch with him and D'Angelo was really good for us on Tuesday. I think combined they had a little over 300 yards rushing. And so, that's something that we hope we get better at, and we hope we can be a little better in spreading the ball around and throwing it around a little bit. And what some people don't realize is we had 3 senior starters on the sideline. So when we get those guys back, obviously, I think we'll be a better football team.
And you have been plagued with some injuries before the season even got off to a good start this year, and you've hopefully all your kids will come back healthy here in a few weeks, and you will have that lineup out there that you planned on having, and good things will happen.
We hope so. We hope so. Again, it's a good group of kids, a good group of hard-working kids, and I think the best chemistry that we've had since I've been here, as far as how they get along and how they compete and how they push each other, and they want to win, and I just hope that we can turn this thing around and they can have some success.
Well, and I agree with you on everything you just said, and you know what, Paragould's due for some success. They're due for some success. They're due for some fun. These kids have worked hard, and it's time for them to put it together and get out on that field and get some W's this year and start a tradition.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
You're all for that, aren't you?
I'm
You're ready
all
to get
for
that
that
big T going over there, aren't you? Let's talk about a little bit on the there's another kid on the offensive side, Alec Carter. I mean, how many wide receivers do you have? And y'all are not a throwing team like Greene County Tech is. Obviously, y'all are more on the ground game, but you do have some key players that you can go to in the air every now and then, and Alec Carter being one of them.
Well, Alex, he's a good football player, and Alec, really Dexter Thompson is the kid that is a kind of our go-to kid at that spot, and Dexter was one of those guys on the sideline Tuesday night, couldn't play. But we have a really good group of receivers, Dexter, Alec. I got a couple sophomores that I wouldn't be scared to throw the ball to, and Alex Wilburn and Darren Addison and Dylan Deal, and so we've got 5 or 6 receivers that I'm not scared to throw the ball to, that can go in. Garrett Taylor that can go in and that can make plays for us.
Well, and that's good to have, that you can have, especially those sophomores that you're not afraid to throw to, and obviously they got good hands. But Dexter Thompson, I just absolutely apologize. I forgot all about him. He's one of my favorite athletes to watch for Paragould basketball and football.
Yeah.
He's got so much good ability. And but anyway, Dave, are we ready for a commercial break? We're about there, aren't we, buddy?
Yes, sir, we are. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Coach Branum right here on your PrimetimeSports.com live from Batten's Donuts.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
At First National Bank, you have convenience right at your fingertips. And instant buying power. It's so easy. And when you're on the go, you know what to do. We understand the importance of now. First National Bank, the working bank for working people.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bit Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
Welcome back to Double G Sports Talk Saturday here live from Batten's Donut and Bakery in the Paragould Plaza. Clifton is live right now with the Paragould head football coach, Tim Branum.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, I'm right here at Batten's Donuts, and we have Coach Tim Branum on live. And is that a little better?
That is better.
Okay,
Thanks.
good. We took a commercial break, and Coach let me know that it was really loud in his headset. So now let's get back to football. One young man I want to talk about. He's a senior this year. He's just a fine young person, but better than that, he's just a really good football player, and that's Tyler Heston. He's got to be one of your senior leaders out there on the field.
Tyler is, and Tyler, although when you look at Tyler, I mean, he's a big kid and looks like a football player. There's no doubt about that. But I think Tyler's really made great strides from his junior to his senior year, and he's more physical and I think he's really going to have an outstanding year in his senior season.
And I agree with you. Does he want to play college football? Does he want to go to the next level?
Well, I think he does, and I think sometimes these kids don't really understand the difference in what it takes to be a college football player at a significant university or any university, as far as that goes. These college coaches are looking for, coaches use the term how their motor runs, and sometimes we're on Tyler about maybe not his motor doesn't run fast enough, and that's a personality thing sometimes. Right. Tyler's a big laid-back kid with a great heart, and sometimes he takes that to the field, and we got to encourage him he's got to change personalities when he's out there. He's got to play harder and play faster and play to the whistle, and that's what those guys at the next level are looking for. They can take kids that do those things and have that heart and that desire and that are physical, and they can make players out of them. So that's what we try to stress to Tyler is that's what they're going to be looking for.
There are a lot of players that have made it to Division I football and even the NFL that are like a Tyler Heston that have the ability, they have the tools, but you're exactly right. He has to understand you can be that nice guy Monday through, or let's say Saturday through Thursday, but when Friday gets here, you got to put the game face on.
Yeah.
You step on that field, you got to let some people know I'm going to throw you to the ground.
Yeah, and Tyler with his size and his athletic ability, he's athletic. I mean, that's the thing that sometimes gets lost with bigger kids. Tyler's a good athlete. He's a good basketball player. So Tyler ought to be physically dominating whoever he's blocking, even in our league. So. We've seen flashes of that, and I thought he had a great game on Tuesday. Him and Aaron Wilkins. Aaron's is our left guard, and Tyler's our left tackle. And those two guys pretty much dominated that side of the line of scrimmage against a good football team, not against a slouchy football team, against a really good football team.
And you're talking about two guys on the line, 225 Aaron Wilkins and 285 Tyler Heston. That's a lot of weight out there on that line, and they're both good football players. They've been with the program all the way through their career, I guess junior high and senior high. Unlike the school across the town, they've had a few kids come out their senior year that haven't played since maybe Pee Wee football. But you got kids here that have just went through the whole program year after year after year, and this is how you build that tradition that we're talking about. You got to throw some wins in there, and we got to do some key things, but building that program.
Yeah, that group of kids, even though if you go back through their career, if you look at it from a win-loss standpoint, hasn't had a lot of success. That group is stuck together. It's a great senior class. Those kids are conscientious and they're hard workers, and you know, as a coach, you know, I'm crazy about those kids. I love those kids, and I just, you know, not for me and not for our coaches, but for those guys, I just love so much for those guys to have some success and be able to go out with some fond memories of their football career.
And I think anybody that loves kids like you and myself, and because there's no doubt I wouldn't be doing what I do as far as broadcast and magazine and all this if I didn't love kids and love sports. But for both of us, that's what we really want for these kids and for our communities. We want success. We want them to be able to take this and apply this in their everyday life when they become our age.
Well, yeah, and success, and I think we get caught up, and we all do. We get caught up in the wins and losses as being a barometer for success, and that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's the way we're put together. But these guys are successful in a lot of ways that maybe only you know, the guys that are working with them every day, you know and understand. But regardless of how many games these guys win, and when I look back on them, I will always look at them as successful because they've been knocked down a bunch, right, and they keep getting up. So you know, they're great kids.
Well, and I think you have to be knocked down a lot to be successful sometimes. You know, I remember I know what it's like to be in their situation. I think my senior year we were 1-9. That's not a fun year, you know, but you just keep playing and you keep grinding and you just keep trying to work at it. So they do deserve some success, and we are covering. Let's talk about this real quick before we let you go. You got Pocahontas next week, right?
Correct.
And Pocahontas always a good high school football program. What's your game plan? What are you ready to go up there and do?
Well, I think you could talk to me 10 weeks out of the year, and pretty much the things that we have to do to have a chance to win the game are going to be fairly constant. And I think we saw a picture of that on Tuesday. Is we played better defensively and we're better defensively. If you take away the 4 plays, they had 4 first downs. So if we can limit the big plays, I think we're going to be much better defensively. I think we're going to be able to get our defense off the field, and I think we're going to be able to compete by doing the same things that we did on Tuesday, and that's ball control, eat the clock, do the things we do well, and then turn around and not give up the big play. And I think that'll probably hold true pretty much in all 10 ball games.
Well, I hope so, and I'm going to tell you something. I hope when I hear or get a tweet or whatever Friday night that Paragould's on that W end of the score, because I want to see these young men start off this year and have a very successful year and do some quality things. Talking about my old high school here, Coach.
Yeah,
I just wasn't around. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Well, listen, it's I know you're not going to be able to be with us for 10 solid weeks. We've discussed that. You'll be in and out of the 10 weeks. Hopefully we'll get you for 3 or 4 Saturday mornings.
Can I just pick maybe the good ones?
Yeah, you pick the good
just
ones.
Kidding.
The thing about this, I won't know that till Friday night.
I know, that's right.
That's a tough schedule to put together.
I understand.
I tell you one thing I want you to do for me. I hope you like the magazine. We've got a few errors in here, don't get me wrong, and we'll get those corrected and we'll do a better job. But I hope we can get all these kids there next year when we get ready to do these pictures. I've already had people say, well, how come there's a blank spot here and how come there's a blank spot here? And I messed up here. I've got this one twice. This is supposed to be somebody else that wasn't there.
Okay.
But the reason this is what I tell everybody. Paragould's the only school that I did this with. the kids weren't there, I still wanted their name and their heights and their weights and the grade and all the information there, even though their picture's not there. So hopefully next year we'll be able to get everybody and fill up this magazine. I think there's only four kids that weren't there. Chris.
Yeah, these two are not on the team.
They're
so
not even on the team anymore.
No.
This was the last roster you gave me.
Right, correct.
Yeah, so
correct.
And sometimes they may quit right there as this magazine's being at print. But anyway, I thought it turned out pretty good. I've had nothing but good reviews on it. And anyway, we're gonna promote these kids, promote the 5A East. That's what this is all about. So, but anyway, we're gonna let you get out of here. Our next guest is Coach Audra Malone. She is the Greene County Tech volleyball coach, and thank you very much for being here, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
So, Dave, I'll let you take it over for a commercial break.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. GCT head volleyball coach Audra Malone.
Appreciate
when we come back from Batten's Donuts and Bakery on yourprimetimesports.com.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bit Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
At First National Bank, you have convenience right at your fingertips. And instant buying power. It's so easy. And when you're on the go, well, you know what to do. We understand the importance of now. First National Bank, the working bank for working people.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
Welcome back to yourprimetimesports.com. We hope you are enjoying our very first internet TV broadcast of Double G Sports Talk Saturday. The only downside is now you finally have to look at this guy right here. Rather than just listen to him, you have to see him. I know you could turn the computer away and just listen if you want to, because I don't know if I'd want to look at that either. Had to make up for all the ugly we've had all morning long. Finishing up. Okay, I understand now.
What the past record history has been, but I know from since I've been there, it's one of the best records that we've started with in senior high. The girls just have a different mindset this year, and it's all the girls. It's not me. I just try to give them the tools and encourage them, and it's just what they want. They're tired of coming out and almost being there and not grabbing that big W there at the end when we're in tight situations. And we've been in a lot of tight situations here lately, and they grab the W and walk off the floor.
Well, 2 of those games, you were down in the sets, and they came back and won 3-2.
Right.
Back-to-back contests.
Right. This year, the girls decided to, when we started talking about our goals, what we wanted to do, I had originally, Dean helped me last year, Dean Livingston, and I looked at him and I said, Dean, look at these other teams. What can we do different? What do you see as our biggest weakness that we can do different? And he said, physical. We need to be different physically. So we got in touch with Chris Hatley. He comes and works with our girls. And physically, most of my girls' vertical jumps, they've increased 4 inches across the board. We move side to side, up and down a lot faster. And volleyball is a lot of change of direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got in the weight room for a good 6 to 7 months and in conditioning to be more physical. And that has helped us when we're in those tight situations. The other thing is they had a shirt printed up that said relentless. They wanted to be relentless. And so any ball that is around even close to the floor, that's what they are. They're relentless. We don't have too many fall unless it's just a good hit put down.
Right.
So it's just a different mindset with them. Our leadership, our senior leadership is by far, they've matured. So it's just a new time for them.
Well, and I agree with you. New time, and it's exciting times right now for Greene County Tech, because let me rattle off your victories already so far. CRA, am I right?
Yeah, well, that was junior high, yeah.
That was
CRA.
junior high, okay.
We played Jonesboro High School.
Okay.
We won in 5. We were down the first 2 sets, which that was my fault. We were running a 6-2 offense, running 2 setters, and 3 hitters are all in the front. And we had a couple of girls that were struggling that night, just being first game jitters. And I let it go 1 set, and we get beat. And then I let it go a 2nd set, thinking it would work its way out, and it didn't. Then I changed my offense and defensive patterns going into the 3rd set, and then we won 3 in a row.
So that was one of those that you came back.
Right.
All right, and then who was after Jonesboro?
Then we played West Side.
Westside,
next
another elite Northeast Arkansas team.
We won in 5. The thing with Westside, by the 3rd match, we looked over at their girls, and they were red-faced and dragging, and we were standing there looking at them, not sweating yet.
So your conditioning has paid off to this point.
And the other thing is, we were having a few ball handling errors with the West Side early on in the match until we got comfortable. They were very aggressive serving. Most of their girls jump served. And, the top spin and the floater serves were, bothering us a little bit where they were placing them. But we picked up our ball control, got out of our midline passing, and started handling the ball and overpowered them towards the end.
Now, before we go to that next team that we're fixing to talk about, you said something there I want to touch on for a second. Mm-hmm. Explain to our viewers and myself.
Okay.
A jump serve is when they're serving the volleyball and they jump up, because I've seen girls do this, when they jump up to hit it.
Right.
Okay. Do you like the steel serve? I guess that's what I'm going to call it, because you're standing still and you're throwing the ball up, or do you like the jump serve?
Well,
which is your...
You have different girls that have different strengths. Someone that stands still and just stands and serves a top spin or a floater can be just as deadly if they're good at placement. If they place it at their the team's shoulders where they have to come out to pass the ball, or if they place it in front of them or side to side where they have to move laterally, they're just as dangerous as someone putting some velocity on the ball and pulling down on the ball, jump serving. So it's all about the girl's skill and what they can control.
Okay.
Sometimes the more dominant players that are better hitters, you're going to see them want to jump serve because that they can get on top of the ball and put more power on the ball.
All right, so Madison Lawback, she's a leaper.
Yeah, she does both.
She does.
She does both.
Well, she's just that athletic.
A lot of times it's going to depend on what Madison sees on the floor. Madison has become very, very smart. She played Junior Olympic volleyball with Jo Beth Mathis,
okay.
and anytime you can do that, I mean, you're just that's just a given. You're going to excel. But she started thinking the game, and so depending on how the serve-receive patterns are, she'll either get up in the air or she'll stand down and try to pick them apart.
How many young girls have you had in your career that come through your program that by the time they're juniors or seniors, they're able to do what she does, is see the game? Most kids can't see the game, Coach. I'm sorry.
Right. None before her. I have sophomores that are doing it right now. Riley Malay, definitely.
Here's why I'm bringing this up. To me, it is her responsibility as a senior to teach the younger girls what she knows.
Oh, absolutely. If you had a microphone on her out on the floor, it's pretty funny. I mean, I can hear her because I know her voice, but the entire time they're playing, even when they're up in the air, she's talking to them or saying something to them. The part that I've tried to work on is she does rotate off the floor at some point because she can play defense back row, but I've got another little girl that can just get it. She's just quick. She's always there, and her ball control is just there. Madison, she has become a good teacher of the game. Even the younger girls, when Madison talks, they stop and they listen. And she does it in the right way, She does it in the right way.
And that's how traditions are built. That's how teams are built. And that's why I think you're starting to see some success at Greene County Tech as these kids are coming through your program. And I've watched Madison the last couple of years. Now she's that senior leader.
Right.
And right down here on the 10th grade level, you have
Riley Malay.
You have Riley Malay, who is just an awesome athlete. I love to watch Riley Malay. But anyway, we got off track there for a second. Now let's come back to the victories. Now you've won 3 in a row. You just finished up with West Side.
Yes, West
Okay,
Side.
and now you come and play the Crosstown Rivals.
First conference game.
And
we played them Tuesday night.
Wow, 3-0. Beat them 3 straight sets.
Yeah. I told the girls before we started, I was like, you guys get so jacked up on adrenaline before you play them, wanting to play and beat them so bad. I was like, we can't do that because then we don't control our adrenaline, and then we bottom out during the game when it evens out, and then we're wiped out and we don't have anything. So, usually before we play Paragould, we would practice real hard. We would talk about strategy. The day before we played Paragould, we just played queens, and we played, little fun games. We didn't even transition to prepare because I did not want them to be stressed out. I wanted them to play. I know they can play. I wanted them to play and play together and just relax, and that's what they did. They didn't overthink the game. They came out and they took care of their skills and they overplayed. But I can guarantee you this: Paragould is not done with us. Paragould is talented. I think they just had a night where things didn't go right for them. If I know Coach Donner, like I know Coach Donner, she's going to have them ready to go and in line. She's an exceptional coach in that way, a motivator. Those young ladies that she has, they're just big, strong athletes. They'll bring more at us, I guarantee you, when we see them again.
I agree with you, and I guarantee you Coach Donner will not let this go easy.
Right.
3-0 sets. So, because I know her too. Matter of fact, I was hoping to get her on this morning, and she texted me, I think it was Wednesday, and said, Cliff, I'm sorry, I'm going to be out of town.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you this. We are going to have volleyball on again.
Sure.
We're having you on early this year. Like last year, it was like we were already into the season, pretty much close to the end. So I'm going to get a second shot at getting her up here. If she tells me she's out of town again, that'll be 3 times in a row. So I don't know if she's using an excuse. So you better talk to her. Say, Coach Donner, you better get up there.
She's a good lady. I'll get her here.
She's a very sweet lady, and I like her, and she's a very good volleyball coach. But now, back on the game. Let's talk about some of your key players. We've talked about Lawback. We've talked about Malay. We can talk more about those. But I've not been to a volleyball game this year, and I apologize. I wanted to be at the one Tuesday night, but where was we Tuesday night?
At the volleyball.
So anyway, highlight our viewers on some of the on some of your players, some of your key players, and some of the things that you see different from last year, and where y'all and what direction you're heading in right now.
Well, what I see from last year is that they're more relaxed. They don't mind messing up. Volleyball is such a momentum game, up and down, and if you get in the girls' head and they're already in their head from playing, then they're done. And they know that I'm not going to get up off the bench unless there's something I need to tell them to instruct them to change. So they're relaxed in that way, that it's okay to make a mistake. The Madison Lawback is obviously one of our, what I would call, lethal players. She's just hard to stop. But once she stopped, then you got Riley Malay to stop. And she's like a cannon going off. She can attack from the back row, front row. She can set, so she becomes lethal as a setter, touching the ball, making a decision the second time. You've got a young lady, Sonia Krischer. She played at Jonesboro High School last year. She lives in the Tech District. And she decided just to go to school at Tech since she lived in the district. She's our 5'11" outside hitter. Everybody calls her Taylor Swift. She looks like Taylor Swift.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I got to come check this young lady out.
But just has really, she came to us in the off season, and she has really matured in how she sees the floor and in her hitting game.
Now, what grade is she in?
Her control. She's a junior this year.
Wow.
And she's right there with Madison with kills. Madison's averaging about 15 kills a game. Sonia's averaging about 12 kills a game. Riley's averaging about 10 kills a game. And those are balls, when I say kills, that nobody are touching, getting them up.
Right.
Then you have Chandler Browning. She's one of those sleeper players that I call, one of those that you would look at and you would think, well, this kid, she's just going to be there on the floor to, do some ball control. She comes in off of that right side and pulls off some big blocks and puts some big balls down. And on top of that, when we are in trouble, she becomes our other setter. She's got great hands. So she fits into the equation real well. Whitney West is our main setter. She's little, 5'1", but she packs a big punch. Even when she's playing on the right side blocking, she stuffed blocked a couple of big old girls the last few games and turned around and looked at us and smiled. But part of that goes with how hard she worked in the weight room, and she leads by example. You don't hear her say a lot. She's the first one out at practice. She's the one hurting and sweating the most when we're doing workouts and telling everybody to stay with it. You got Jessica Ball, who is our defensive specialist, the one that wears the green shirt, the little barrel. I have watched her in the last 2 years, and it gives me chills to watch her pass, because her technique and her platform, everything that she does is so clean. And the girls listen to her.
Is she a senior this year?
She's a senior this year.
She's got to be, because I know I've taken her picture and followed her.
She is so mature.
Yeah.
She, usually at a defense specialist, when if you're having a bad night and keep shanking past and stuff like that, you don't ever see her beat herself up. She just continues to plug away. It's kind of like in basketball. A good shooter, they're going to keep shooting, and eventually it's going to happen. Same way with passing. So she has been our, I guess what you would say, our tie on the back row, especially when you add Olivia Kidd, who is a sophomore, who comes in and comes up with some big defensive plays, just real quick with her reaction and reflexes, Olivia is, and Whitney Maxwell, who is, I think she's got probably the fastest feet I've ever seen.
Whitney does?
Whitney Maxwell. She's got what I call smart feet.
Right.
She could be all tangled up, and somehow she's got her feet straightened out, and she's going to the ball. So with those on the line, and then you got Josie Fletcher, the sophomore that comes in. She's playing middle. She has shut down some big opponents that are seniors that are coming at her, and she doesn't even flinch. She's like a wall that is put up.
Well, you have another key athlete there.
Yeah, and so, but she just works hard. You know, you never hear her complain, and she'll be at basketball practice and then come into volleyball practice. You don't ever hear her complain doing the extra workout. Whitney Maxwell's the same way. So they're just a different group of girls with their mindset, and that makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you can have players that make plays, but they might not be a player.
Right.
They might make plays being physical, but not a total player.
Now, is Maxwell and Fletcher the only two that you have going basketball, volleyball?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now.
So, okay, Dave's holding his hand up. We're about ready to go for a break.
We're going to take a small break, 2-minute break, as always. We come
take
back,
a 2-minute break.
More with Coach Malone right here on yourprimetimesports.com, live from Batten's Bakery and Donuts.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bed, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
Through the years, First National Bank has created memories, starting new relationships, handing over keys and responsibilities, planning for the future, and building foundations, realizing dreams and destinations, sharing a lifetime of memories. First National Bank.
Saturday, live from Batten's Donuts and Bakery. And Clifton is sitting right now with Greene County Tech head volleyball coach, Audra Malone. And I have a question for Coach Malone while we are, let me get the camera right. There we go. We're back now. Coach, every 4 years is the Olympics. And when they broadcast the Olympics, for whatever reason, they have a strong emphasis on volleyball.
Right.
We saw more volleyball last month than we've seen in 4 years.
Right.
When that happens, do you notice an uptick in interest in volleyball wherever you're coaching? At the school
Oh.
you're coaching, does it make more people come out to watch volleyball? Does it make more people come out to play on the team?
Well, it doesn't necessarily more people on the team, but we have a larger interest about with the guys. The guys at our school, they all want to come out and play, or they're like, how come we don't have a men's volleyball? Or, you know, they're all interested. And of course, then they want to get out on the floor with us after practice is over, some of the guys, and they want to try to hit the volleyball. And so we'll toss the ball up for them, and they hit it, and they sail it up into the bleachers, and they keep trying, and they look at us, and they're like, this is hard. And I laugh when they say that, because our girls kind of make it look easy, but I tell the guys, I was like, you gotta understand, they've been practicing this for 5 years, and it's full body. When you hit, you have to have shoulder strength, you have to have core muscles, you have to jump, you have to control your balance, you have to stay squared to the net when you do. There's a lot of things involved in it, and these boys, these guys are extremely good athletes. They get up and they're like, wow, this is harder than what I thought, and they really can't pass the ball, because then that's a whole different story. So they all get to the point where they want to start a new team. The boys want to start a team. And then they show up at our games, and they get into our games. They start asking about rules. They start asking about game strategies. They don't realize there's that much into it. So
it's a different game.
Right.
I'm telling you, I tried it when I was a teenager, and as a baseball, basketball mainly, and football player, it just didn't go along with the things that my body was used to doing.
Right.
Okay, and it's a tough game, and some guys like it, some don't. I'm not saying I don't like volleyball. It just wasn't for me.
Right.
As a player. So now that brings up a good question though that I want to talk to you about. I've already been asked about a volleyball magazine. Okay. You know, I've come out with a football magazine.
Right.
Trust me, I've had parents ask me about, is the band in it?
Right. Right.
In a nice way, you say, no, this is football season. And nothing against the band. I love the band kids. I love my volleyball girls. I love all that, and you know that. But what I have to go. I mean, there's no doubt football is football. It is what it is. It's the largest money-making sport of all sports, all the way to the NFL, period.
Right.
What can we do to help you, and what do you have to do as a school to get more interest in volleyball? That maybe when we're packing out a gym, and we can do a magazine one day, a separate magazine, or we can bring a broadcast to a big game that may be like a West Side Valley View type atmosphere. Because I have been to that game. Before you answer this, that place is packed. That place is rocking.
Well, I mean, you just got to start winning. People want to see you win. They want to see quality volleyball.
And that's with everything.
That's with everything. I mean, the other thing is if you're not winning, you better have some good matches going on. But, the people that have started coming and that have never come before, they're like, this is intense. They say they walk out from volleyball a match compared to a basketball or a football, and they're like, my heart has not slowed down because it's constant up, down, up, down, up, down. And you can imagine that's what the girls are going on. But part of it has to be is just the whole community having awareness. A lot of people don't understand the game. They don't understand the strategy that goes into the game when you set up a lineup. They don't understand how the back row players come into effect or what it takes to hit and, set the ball. Part of it, there's not a lot of clinics that go on in this area to teach that. Now, if you go to the Jonesboro area, there are clinics. I mean, I help do clinics and things at the Trim Gym all the time. People call me, want to hire me to come and do clinics or put on practices, things like that for young ladies. I do that with Rhonda Qualls and some of the other coaches. So part of it's an awareness and an understanding, because honestly this has just been a basketball town for a long time, and nothing wrong with that, because I play basketball. Some of my better athletes have been basketball players. They're more aggressive, but on the same time we help them learn how to jump.
But here's what I don't understand when you say that. I realize we've always been a basketball community. Why can't we bring volleyball to a level that it needs to be, and football to a level that it needs to be?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
It's starting to come there. I honestly believe, because part of it, you have to get it recognized at the school district level for it to be important.
That's what I'm looking for.
And
we've got to get the school district behind it.
And I think like Gene Weeks and Scott Garish, and you got Mr. Noble. They help me get some things done.
There you go. That's important.
Right. We get to play in the arena now. They got the score clock raised for us so that it's the atmosphere that we can produce there.
Right.
When everybody's down on top of you on the court, that kind of atmosphere with the crowd is unbelievable.
It is.
And the girls feed off of that. And so, when you get the school districts involved to feel like it's the same level sports, maybe on a girls level. I'm not saying that we'd ever overpower football, but on the same girls level, then that's when it'll take off. Volleyball is a total team sport. I can't put a girl in a corner like you can when you draw up a play. On some other sports, you can put a girl in the corner or over on the other side of the field and not let them touch the ball as the time runs down. In volleyball, they're all on the floor. They're going to touch the ball. They're going to have to touch the ball if they're on the floor.
I'm volleyball.
Turn it.
Why is somebody on the team, one specific player on the team, wearing a different color jersey than the rest of the players?
Well, that's your defensive specialist. What's happened is the ball has started traveling so fast, and the players have become so fast, and the movement, and they jump faster. They are putting a lot more speed on the ball hitting, and usually that girl is kind of like your goalie in soccer. They're the ones that's going to keep the defensive play going. They're the ones that are going to get the most dig. Their reflexes are faster. Their hand-eye coordination is faster, so that keeps the rallies going longer. In volleyball, otherwise you're just putting the ball down. Somebody's hitting and putting the ball down if you have to rotate your best defensive player off the floor, because the girls are getting so much bigger, faster, and stronger. All of them are.
And that's with every sport.
That's with every sport. If you watch the Olympics, you saw how fast they hit and how high they were getting. And that little person in the libero in the colored uniform, they were the ones that kept the ball alive and going.
When the Olympics were on, you and your
Well, they were watching. They would watch and text me, or did you see that? Or they would come back to practice and I can't believe how they were hitting, or how they pulled off that corner shot, or where the setter was placing the ball for her. I mean, they were paying attention. They understood, and they were starting to really understand at this level when they were watching the Olympics. It was more court awareness that they were picking up on, because they understood the skill. It was that they were starting to pick up on more court awareness than anything. Your setter on the floor is kind of like your point guard, but she uses all peripheral vision a lot of times. She didn't get to face the floor straight on, like in basketball, like a point guard going down the floor. She's seeing the floor peripheral, and that's really hard for some girls to pick up on. Same thing with hitters. They only see peripheral because they see the blocker and the other side of the floor, and they're having to watch the ball at the same time in order to put it down.
Will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Because we want to help you, okay?
Right.
And I had the opportunity this morning to ask you this one-on-one personally live.
Mm-hmm.
After every match, or not match, but your sets, after the day's over with and you're on your way home, could you text Dave or I, or tweet what your scores of each set, and how this, if you won 3-2 or 3-1 or whatever, so we can start posting that on your PrimetimeSports.com. We have a lot of people that get on here to just keep up with scores and things. So if you could send that to his email. I mean, he had football scores up, Audra, the other night that KIT hadn't even got them yet.
Right.
And I'm like, amazing.
Right.
Because we have people that are helping us. So the only way that we become aware of what your scores are, because we can't be every place, is for you to help us out.
Sure.
If you can do that, then we can push out to the public what's going on, and give you some more awareness and some more excitement. Because you know what? You said the key word a minute ago. When Frank's quit it, when people see wins, they want to come out and see what the excitement's all about. I don't care what it is. When you're winning, they want to come. So that's a good thing. Now, what we were talking about a minute ago, the awareness, y'all have started something new this year, and let's talk about that. You've started a booster club. What's the name of it?
It's the Spike Club. It's the Greene County Tech Spike Club.
Okay.
Whenever I stepped into the program last year, one thing I didn't want to have to mess with was the concession, and I just couldn't do it, especially with my little girl and her situation and having to take care of my little boy. But I just approached the parents, and I'm like, hey, if y'all can run the concession and do some things, it's all for the girls. If they need knee pads, I don't want to, I need you to generate some money for them. So if we need money for camps, if we have girls that need it, we've got it. And so the Spike Club has stepped up. They sell T-shirts right now. Everybody at Greene County Tech, they're buying them like hotcakes, because it's not a volleyball-specific T-shirt.
We should have brought one. You would have held it up.
Darla might have one.
You got a T-shirt?
You have a T-shirt in the car? But anyways, it says GCT Eagles, and it just says make you a team, put it together, coming together is one. It's for the entire school, and honestly, we as a volleyball coach, Coach Harding has been good to me. When it's time to practice after school, because my practice first hour, he's like, hey, Coach, I'm off the floor. We're good to go. Coach Boland, same way. I never have to wait to get on the floor. They're always checking on us. Coach Harding, my girls he's not, I tell him, I was like, let them shoot. I don't want the girls to stop shooting. But, no contact when they're in season with drills and stuff. So when it says coming together, it takes the whole effort of everybody to make it happen for a successful team. I'm just he's just as responsible, I guess, for my volleyball or even softball. Tony Boyd stepping in. He's been good. He's been there helping run the clock.
Really?
Yeah, Tony's helped us run the clock with some in the 7th grade. His daughter plays. Skylar plays on the 7th grade team. She's going to be a great athlete for us. But it takes all of them supporting. And those girls see it, and they're more comfortable, and they play harder. And they don't worry about, I'm going to get behind in this sport. I'm going to, we're going to have problems in this sport. Coach Harding comes to the games. It's the same thing when it's their turn. I'm just as responsible to make sure his girls stay healthy when they're with me and not doing stuff and being there to support them. So I think that's why these shirts are going as well as they are, because it's a total, school shirt that everybody should be together supporting on one thing.
Well, and I don't even have a schedule. Schedules are like pulling teeth around Greene County Tech sometimes. So I don't even have a schedule. I wish I had that. I don't know what that's about right now, but anyway. But I was talking about schedules. But anyway, tell us when your next volleyball game is, or tell us what you have this week.
We have a big week coming up, and I'm a little nervous about it. But we play Batesville Tuesday night at Batesville, and anytime you go there, Batesville has athletes, and they do things right in their athletic program. I mean, they get everybody involved. And they have really turned that program around. It's not the same Batesville anymore. They took Nettleton 5 the other night. And I text some of the Nettleton girls that I ACT tutor, and I'm like, okay, did y'all just have an off night, or were they really that good? And they're like, no, they're just really that good, Coach. And so they started talking, which I saw them at camp. I saw Batesville at camp, and I thought, this could be an issue. And they've got some pretty dominant hitters, and they're really scrappy and aggressive. So we're going to head to Batesville Tuesday night, and we're going to look them in the eye and give them all we have.
And I know y'all will. And you know what? You guys are scrappy.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are not going to go up there and lay down.
No.
And so, but I know, still as a coach,
Right.
you get a little nervous.
Right.
You want the best out of your players.
Right.
And you know what? That may be the night that you travel to Batesville, and they play the best game of the year.
Right.
Because they just want to go up there and
Right.
rock. You don't never know.
Right.
Depends on what side of the bed they get out of that morning.
Sure. And of course, I mean, I know we're going to drop some games and maybe even drop some matches because the way volleyball, just the nature of volleyball. I want us to peak at the right time, and if that's at the end of the year, I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But, because sometimes you have to get beat to grow, and we still have some growing to do about some things. And then on Thursday night, Nettleton comes to our place. It's going to be a big game. And, of course, I know that
that's Thursday night?
Yeah, they always bring a big crowd, Nettleton does, and they almost take over the gym with their fans.
They
and
were
how
state
they
champions last
year?
Or year before last.
They beat Siloam. The little white girl who plays at UALR was the main key player there, a little 5'2" girl. She tore everybody up. But they always bring a big crowd, and that plays a big role with volleyball, just the crowd. And
I was at some Greene County Tech volleyball games last year, probably 5, maybe 6. That it does. It seems like that the bigger the crowd, the more those girls respond.
Yes.
Basketball you can get away with that a little bit. Football you can get away with that a little bit. Baseball definitely you can get away with that. You don't have big crowds in baseball. But it's like Coach Cunningham and I were talking about. That's our favorite sports, baseball. We both played it. But it's the one that has the least amount of
momentum.
Because people just get bored.
Sure.
So, but volleyball has a lot of excitement. There's a lot of fast-paced movement going. I tell you one thing. I will tell you this because I can honestly say this as a professional photographer. It is the hardest sport to shoot, action-wise.
It is.
Because I started doing that years ago, and sometimes I just have to go up in the tip top of the floor of the arena and put my long lens on because I had to get back as far as I could to get my quality action shot.
Well, part of that has to do with people have to understand the game and see how the plays develop. That it is a hard sport to shoot because I do a little photography too, and it's the hardest one I teach to my journalism kids.
Yep.
But yeah, it's real fast paced. It's all momentum. It's very intense. It's a mind game. There's a lot of thinking involved about how floor shifts and what will be open when the floor shifts. If they're running a 6-2 or a 5-1 offense, who will be leaving, who will be staying, what's open. I mean, they have to be aware of all that every time they touch the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've touched on everything, and I want to tell you something. We're set up for 4 guests. We only had 3 this morning because I failed. I got so busy Thursday and Friday. I failed to locate me a 4th guest. Okay, so I'm like, okay, well, we'll just cut her short this morning. Well, guess what? You and I talk so much that we covered 2 people.
I can talk about volleyball all day long. There's so much to it.
Awesome. Now, we want you to come back in 3 or 4 weeks. And by the way, when you see Coach Gatewood Thursday night, I was at Nettleton yesterday evening, and I ran into her, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to have you on our Saturday morning talk show to talk about volleyball." I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. Tell her how much fun you and I had.
will. I'll give her her time.
It's not. We just sit here and got a headset on.
I'll give her her time.
Yeah.
Vicky, she's soft spoken. Vicky is,
She's a sweet
and
lady.
so she's probably a little shy about it, but she's got a lot to talk about with her program.
She does, and I told her that. I said, you have a very successful program.
Yeah.
And you're part of our 5A East, and the 5A East is what we're all about.
Sure.
I mean, we cover other things for your at yourprimetimesports.com. Don't get me wrong, and we want to branch out a little bit, but we are all about the 5A East.
Right.
And the first 2 years, we were all about the Greene County Tech Eagles and the Paragould Rams.
Right.
Well, now this year, we're really expanding into these other schools with the football magazine and the basketball in November and the baseball, softball in February. Well, we want to branch out into these other sports and other schools. So I need coaches like you.
It just helps the sense of community. These athletes see each other on and off the field.
Sure.
They're friends on and off the field. You know what I mean? The parents. It takes everybody to make all of it work, and the more that you guys can do that, it's just going to help the game grow. It's going to help everybody have a sense of community, and when you have everybody working together, even in different towns, you can't go wrong.
Good. That's
Can't go
right.
wrong.
I agree with you. So we're going to start. You're going to start sending the scores. We're
Sure.
going to get them posted. We're going to start promoting. Guys, we've had a great time this morning. I'm going to tell you something, Dave, before you get on that mic right there. Since we started the show at 8:30, or actually about 8:35, we got on live. This place has been hopping. I mean,
Well, I've been doing periodic camera shots of the crowd here at Madden's Bakery, and had to pick a shot that I have seen where there has been a bunch.
well, you can hear the background noise. I mean, this place is hopping this morning. It's awesome. So we've had a good show at Batten's Donuts and Bakery here in Paragould, and we'll start putting together our next show for next week.
One more break and come back to wrap up.
Okay, let's do that.
We're going to take our final break of the day and come back and wrap the show up here at Madden's Donuts and Bakery. There's your shot right there. Everybody wave to the camera. There we go. Right here live on yourprimetimesports.com.
You get big time savings and hometown service. Always a bit Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. At Baird, there's a difference you will clearly see. You're always a VIP. Saving service, great selection too. Baird does it all for you.
Retirement? It's never looked so good. Welcome to Chateau on the Ridge Assisted Living in Paragould, Arkansas. Say hello to fine dining and down-home living, where around-the-clock security and peace of mind are always at your fingertips. And front row seats to the best shows, they're included. We call it Chateau on the Ridge. You can call it home. Call or visit today to get the whole scoop.
Make the switch now to no-fee banking.
First National Bank provides me with totally free checking, and as a business owner, that helps keep my customers satisfied.
At First National, there are no fees and no hassles. Express yourself by choosing a debit card that fits your personality.
I switched my bank to First National because of no monthly debit card fees. Are you ready to switch?
First National Bank, the working bank for working people. Member FDIC.
Let us show you how easy switching can be.
Do you need insurance? If the answer is yes, let Chris Robinson and his staff at Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency handle your needs. Whether it's auto, life, business, or planning for your retirement, Chris Robinson's Insurance Agency is ready to serve you and your family. Come by Chris Robinson Insurance Agency, 1211 West Court Street in Paragould, or on the web at chrisrobinson@allstate.com.
We're back at Batten's Donuts. Miss Darla McCreelis is trying to tell me a story, but hey, y'all be careful. Don't get no trouble. So, but anyway, we're having a big time. There's a large crowd up here today, and people. This is a great thing about Paragould, Dave. Everybody knows everybody, and people come in. They're waving. They're saying hi. They're talking. So Got some Tech baseball players over there. Got the Batten family over there eating. Guy over there I go to church with, and then folks that just walked out. So, hey.
I tried to get Mike Batten to come on here at the end of the show to help us christen our
I don't hear that. Is that turned up?
It is on.
I know, but I'm not hearing it. I've struggled. Okay, I've just struggled. Maybe it's because my volume's down now.
Maybe the battery's dead. Hang on. Well, I be dog. Has it been off all day?
No, we were hearing it early.
Okay.
But I had told you earlier to turn it up, and you said it was up. You didn't check that.
First show bugs, we're working them out. Can you hear it now?
I can hear you now, brother.
Fantastic. All right, well, we've had a great show. I tried to get Mike Batten to come on and help us christen our first television broadcast. Too busy, obviously. Look at what is going on in here this morning on Saturday.
I will say this. When I got up here at 6:45, 6:30, 6:45 this morning, he did not have an apron on. He has an apron on now, so they have.
You know it's serious business when Mike puts his apron
for
on.
2 hours. It's been a steady stream of people in here, and so anyway, it's a great place to eat a famous Batten's fried pie or your donut. Or I tell you what, I had this morning. I had ham and cheese omelet with hash browns and toast. Hey, if you don't want a donut coming up, get you an omelet, get you some pancakes, get you something, because it's all good. And
you ate that before we went on.
Yeah, I did.
Because now that we are on internet television, nobody wants to watch you eat.
No. I don't want to. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to do that. Oh, yeah. But anyway, we've had a great time, and
you're going to be having, I guess, Brett Carlisle's going to be in here with
don't
you.
know that yet now because I've not talked to him. I've not talked to him.
Our trusty cameraman for football games. We're going to try and get him to come in and cover for me. Next Saturday, I'm going to be going out of town. So hope you guys have a good show. And we'll be back on the air Friday night, live from Blytheville. West Memphis Blue Devils come to town to face the Black Chickens.
I think that's going to be a fun game. I hope it's a pretty night. Coach Mack and the crew over at Blytheville, Coach Hickson, who's now just the athletic director. He was the men's basketball coach last year. They've hired a new basketball coach. Listen, they brought in at least 4 new coaches at Blytheville this year. Randy Smith for baseball, Coach Flannery, I believe it was, for boys basketball, Coach McCroskey for boys football. I know there's another. Yes, but you know what? It's all for good because they're wanting to do a facelift of Blytheville over there, and those guys are motivated and they're wanting to do it. So it's going to be a fun night next Friday night, Blytheville West Memphis game. We'll have it live, and you might want to get on and watch that young man from West Memphis, that D1 prospect. I don't know that.
We'll know it by next Friday.
And on top of that, you'll know it before then, and you can post it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can post it. Keep your eye on number whatever, blah, blah, blah.
I'll write that.
That's not his name, blah, 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 by the way. Okay. All right, let's get out of here.
I'm Dave Grimm, and this is Clifton Garmrath, and we'll see you Friday night from Blytheville, and he'll see you back here Saturday morning, as we do every Saturday, 8:30 a.m. from Batten's Donuts and Bakery, right here on yourprimetimesports.com. We'll see you.
Have a great weekend.